Hello and welcome to another how-to video. My name is Ditech, CTO DVS, and today we're going to take a look at a brand new product from Hikvision. Before we go any further, I want to say a big massive thank you to all our likes, comments and subscribers, and don't forget, head over to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow and subscribe, comment if you want, use askdvs@dvs.co.uk or contact your very professional salespeople. As always, thank you to Toshiba for sponsoring our channel, and we can't wait to see what the future brings product-wise. So, what are we going to show today? Brand new product from Hikvision, so it's the DS-K1T680 series indoor face recognition terminal, sorry. The good thing with this variant is they finally do it in PoE. So if we get it outside of the box, there are a couple of variants of this, and not all of the variants support PoE. But this model here, very satisfying to remove that. This model here actually does support PoE. So on the back cover there, I can remove the back plane there, connect it to a PoE, standard PoE network, and it will power the device. Now it won't power a lock if you connect a lock to it, but it will be powered from PoE. There is a clean relay output if you wish to control a lock, a relay via the lock. It's got the alarm input, so the door contact, push contact, door contact and request to exit button, I should say. I can't even speak this morning. So it can be used as an IP terminal to control a door exclusively without software, but it will work with our IMS 4200 and HIK Central software. Now on the back, you can see, if I just bring it closer, you can see the pinouts on there. But again, very, very simple to do. Now in the box itself, you get the back mounting plate. So we're going to fit this in the demo room. So back mounting plate, screw that to the wall. And that, there is a back tamper button. That simply slides over, locates in, and there's two screws on the bottom there to secure it once located. There is a USB port on the bottom as well. Inside the box, you get a mini USB to USB adapter, which goes in the bottom, so you can import, export, upgrade firmware, etc. That just plugs straight into the bottom. Some mounting screws, a template, a small Allen key, and then you get the plug-on connector that's got all of the alarm input, output, relay, etc. 12 volt if you want to power with 12 volt. That simply plugs on the back there, and then you connect as required. So with this new unit, they do it in a, so this is PoE, they do it with a fingerprint module also. So if you're into fingerprint, you can buy the fingerprint module. Now it's got the customizable background, custom audio, so you can have custom audio on there, and it's very, very fast, 100,000 faces as well, so it's phenomenally powerful. So cost effective as well, so I'm not going to say what the price is, but you'll be pleasantly surprised. If you want to know the price, contact DVS or your distributor of choice. We're going to go fit this in the demo room on the display board there, where we'll show you how powerful it is, how quick it is, and what you can do with that. If you do connect a 12 volt supply, I recommend a 12 volt 3 amp PSU, because it is a little bit juicy. Okay, stay tuned, but we'll transfer you over and we can see this in action. Okay, so we fitted the unit now. So I'm going to show you the specification sheet before we move on. The specification sheet is simply this. There are a couple of variants available of this model. Currently, DVS, we're only stocking the PoE version, but they do a non-PoE version, but they also do a model with fingerprint. So if you want the non-PoE or fingerprint version, please do let us know, and we can happily assist. You can actually see that it's a 8-inch unit, 720p camera effectively, touchscreen, network support. Doesn't support Wi-Fi on this model, but it's got one network interface, one RS-485, one WeGAN, one lock output, one exit button, one door contact, input output, so two input outputs, two alarm inputs, one input output, alarm output, a 2-pin power, so you can power it with 12 volts if you want. But the beauty of this unit is it is PoE, standard PoE. USB port for upgrade, import or export of information, 100,000 card capacity, 100,000 face capacity storage, and 150,000 event storage. So if you ever connect onto the network and then use IMS 4200 or HIK Central, for instance, you can still get the historic events that are stored on the unit. Now, another benefit of this unit, recently we've upgraded it to support the DesFire. So for those of you that want the DesFire card support, we can now do that as well as the standard MyFair, which we sell in the Felicia card. You can see some of the other information there. It does support HIK-Connect directly, QR code scanning, and anti-face spoofing support, a couple of different languages. But again, that's about it. IP65, although I would recommend not fitting this unit outside. Whilst it does have IP65 protective level, you will find that it's quite attractive for vandals. It's not a vandal resistant unit, so you might find it does get smashed up because it attracts attention. And strong sunlight, especially with the fingerprint or and the face mechanism, you can find strong sunlight can affect the face performance if it's behind it, situated behind it. Although we do have WDR, and you can find so that kind of thing can affect the performance. So it's a performance issue as well as a vandal issue. So just be mindful of that, although technically it does have an IP rating. These units, like I said before, do sit on the network. They can be standalone, so you can fully program them through the front end, which I'll show you quickly when we move across to the unit. Or in this new unit, you can either use IMS 4200, HIK Central, or the beauty of this unit and some of the existing units is it now supports web browser functionality. So it's on the network. I've given it an IP address and activated it with my unique password. And now I can simply web browse into the unit, which is absolutely fantastic. So you can see, press play, that's the video. It's fitted on our display stand looking out. I will give you a demonstration of its use shortly, but you've got the standard functionality, speech, take photo, digital zoom, or you can actually open the door from the web browser if you require. But very basic functionality, and you can add it to an NVR. So for those of you that do ask, yes, you can add this to an NVR and have the camera as a standard IP channel. So under configuration, starting at the top, that's the unit currently. It's on the latest firmware. You can see the part number there. It is the PoE version, and that is currently the latest firmware as it stands. As you can see, I've added no users to this unit yet, so it all stands at 0, but there are some events logged in there from when I initially activated it, etc., and set the network and activation password, etc. And I just did a reboot on it before I made this video. So always make sure you're on the latest firmware, and that can be found on the Hikvision Europe portal, and we have a UK dedicated one for UK specific firmware. Okay, time settings. I've already set the time, but you can sync it or use an NTP source. Daylight saving, you can set that if required, and about. Under maintenance, reboot, default, restore, unbind the HIK-Connect account. So if you do add this to HIK-Connect, because there is an option for the user for an intercom function, not only can it be used as an intercom, but you can actually get it to call HIK-Connect directly, and I will quickly show you that shortly. So I've added it to my HIK-Connect account in preparation for this video, and that will enable you to then unbind it if you need to delete it and add it to another account or change it to another user's premises. Export the device parameters or the log, and then import device parameters and upgrade the controller or the card reader depending on what you're trying to do with the correct firmware. Security, pretty standard. SSH is disabled by default, but if we have an issue and HQ need to access it, we generally enable that and then use a compatible tool to get the back-end information out. User management. So currently is only the admin user added, and arming, disarming information. I have not added it to IMS 4200 or HIK Central. If I did, it would show you what that IP address of that software is that has currently armed it. That one software would then receive the events, and then, especially if it was HIK Central, distribute it out to the appropriate people. Under network, so DHCP is supported. I've already set my network parameters. They're my ports, and then my report strategy, which I'm not using in this current setup. Advanced platform access. We support ISUP, so if you're using this with HIK Central and you can't add it by direct IP address, we do support add-in via the ISUP protocol, so you would enable that and go through the relevant configuration stages. We're also supporting HIK-Connect or Guardian Vision. By default, it's enabled. Either use the default stream encryption key or input your own and click Save. There's also the HTTP listening, which I haven't set up. Video and audio, so you can see there I set it to 25 frames a second, H.264 only currently supported, 25 frames a second, and it's 720p. What I have done under the audio is input and output volume. So this is the inbuilt microphone and the built-in speaker on the unit itself. I've actually raised them to 10 for purposes of demonstrating on this video shortly. For the audio prompt, I've actually disabled this, but by default it is disabled, but I can enable audio prompt, and that will enable you to set the time duration of, so time period when authentication is succeeded, and you can put that between an active time. So the reason this exists is if it's in a residential area perhaps, and you don't want the voice of the terminal speaking to you at 2 o'clock in the morning because it could be a disturbance to other residents, then you can set the time to only be between sort of 8 AM in the morning and 10 PM at night, for instance. Then you can actually choose languages set by the default in the top menu, so it is English, and then prompt authentication succeeded. By default it's authenticated, but I could say welcome to DVS, please stay safe. And then I could add in a second time duration, so I could have it in the morning, in the afternoon, etc. But what I will do is delete the second one, so we'll just have a default 24/7 when it's authentication is succeeded. And then again, for authentication failed, so if the user isn't in the system, you can set the relevant time period there, and you could put down please seek assistance and click save. So it's up to you how you enable time schedule and put those customizable audible announcements in there. One for authentication succeeded and one for authentication failed. So a very, very powerful function. Under image, it's a very simple setup. So we have WDR disable or on. It's off by default. You can adjust brightness, contrast, saturation and sharpness, and the supplement light parameters depending on what you're trying to do. The supplement light is the infrared light that's built into the unit. Schedule. This unit has time and attendance capabilities. By default, the time and attendance is actually off, but you can set different templates and the time and attendance status. So for purposes of the demonstration, I've enabled the template one for 24/7, and we're going to put that DVS time and attendance just to make it nice and clear. So it's now updated it there. Time and attendance status. You can enable it, so off is the default, so it doesn't require the user that you've added to do the time and attendance check-in. But if you want the time and attendance function, simply turn it on, and you've got disable, manual, auto, manual, and auto. If I select it to manual, that will require the user, upon successful face recognition, to select whether they're checking in, checking out, break in, break out, or overtime in and out. And you can actually adjust the parameters down here underneath. So check in, check out, I put DVS check in, DVS check out, break in, break out, and you can actually DVS allocated break out. So you can set the parameters as required. They're specific to you, your client, or your application. So again, very, very powerful. Having the web browser functionality makes this nice and simple. You don't technically have to have any software to use the time and attendance functionality, but it is suggested that you use IMS 4200 or Hike Central with that functionality to make this reporting nice, simple, and smooth. And again, overtime in and out, you can adjust those as necessary. It's an intercom if you want it to be. If you are using this as part of an intercom system, you set those parameters as required. It will require an indoor station or stations, and depending on the setup, it'd probably link to your modular call station and route the call through there. But again, it's very simple to do. Lots of people do that, and if you want to know any more, we've already done a video on intercom setup if required. Access control functionality. So authentication is card or face. You can select one of the prompts here. So you could have it card, face and password, face or card. So we're going to leave it as card or face currently. Display authentication results for face, picture, name and employee ID. Fine. You can turn those off if required. Minimum card swipe interval is set to 0 seconds by default. An authentication interval is also set to 0 seconds by default, but you can adjust those depending on your application. So we'll just click save. Door parameters. So door 1, there's only one door, so DVS demo room, only one door relay that's on the back of the unit. And again, it's important to note these don't power the locks directly. We just give a normally open or normally closed relay output. You take that through a battery backed up power supply to your mag lock, strike lock, shear bolt, whatever that is you're trying to do, automatic door, barrier, etc. So reverse the relay polarity is remain closed or remain open. Lock action time is 5 seconds release, but you can adjust that as needed. And door open timeout alarm is set to 30 seconds. If you are using door monitoring and you connect the door status contact or switch into the door contact input of the unit, if the door's still open after 30 seconds of a valid read, it will generate an alarm. Just put DVS in there. Okay, card security. So again, depending on your application, enable NFC card, enable M1 card, enable encryption, EM, DESFire, and DESFire card content. So you adjust those specific to your card and where the sector is for the reading, etc. Again, you may need to contact Hikvision or DVS technical support if you need to get more details while you're on site and configuring this. Link network settings. I don't have it linked to a master IP station, but I can put this as my intercom. So if I put that as my intercom, actually not my intercom, what I'll do is put it as the software. That's my HIK Central. So effectively, when I ring the control client, it can then route it through to the HIK Central, and I do have the appropriate licenses, etc. for that functionality. RS-485, again, you can set that depending on your application. Card reader extension mode or access controller, depending on how you're configuring this unit. The WeGAN settings, by default, is disabled, but you can enable that and change it from a WeGAN input to a WeGAN output. So, for instance, if you want to take this into a third-party access control, i.e. Paxton, and connect it into their reader head terminal, you can select the appropriate WeGAN mode, 26 or 34-bit, and then you can actually use it with one of their systems. And there are other systems that do allow that for this integration using the WeGAN connection as well. Pretty common format. And card authentication settings. You choose the authentication mode as full card number, WeGAN 26 or WeGAN 34. So the default is WeGAN 34, but you can adjust specific to your application. Now, under Smart, this is to do with the face recognition settings. What I would say is I'd, by default, probably leave it as it is. And if you are having problems, misreads, or difficulty, or long periods of time to recognize a face, then we can start to look at these settings. Out of the box, this is what it comes as, and they work very well out of the box. Anti-spoofing is on. Live face detection security level is normal, but you can put it to high profile or highest. Recognition distance is automatic, but you can set that to a defined distance also. Indoor application mode, again, IP rated, but you can select other if it's going outside, but again, be very mindful of that application. Continuous face recognition interview, matching threshold, eco mode, and hard hat detection. So pretty much out of the box, you can leave this as it is, but we can adjust that if you are getting read issues, and we can start adjusting these parameters specific to that application. But to be fair, most people don't have to do that. The hard hat detection, so you've got do not detect hard hat not detected, door remains open, hard hat not detected, door not open. So basically, you can force this to also look for hard hats. I don't have a hard hat here at DVS, otherwise I would have demonstrated that functionality, but that's new. They've only added it into this version, this release of the face recognition terminal. But I'll try and get a hard hat and show that in a separate little standout video. Once we're happy that this is set up, you also have a configuration area, so you can actually adjust when I'm doing a screen recording, it takes a long time for the video to come through due to our screen capture software. But effectively, you can adjust the read area. So if the parameters for the read area by default the whole screen, you need to narrow it down or close that box down to avoid misreads or incorrect reads. You can adjust that as required. Notice publication. So this is a nice little function where you're able to upload a custom background. So when the unit's not in use, it will go to sleep effectively after that period of time. The default is 60. The sleep mode is off by default, but you can turn sleep mode off. So after 20 seconds, the unit goes to sleep. So if it's outside and you don't want to draw attention to it, you could adjust it into sleep mode, minimum of 20 seconds. After 20 seconds of inactivity, the unit goes dark, black, the screen goes off, and effectively it draws less attention to the unit. So that's also another possibility. But with the custom screensaver, I've enabled it. You can add up to 8 pictures. You just select them from your pictures album, and then you click upload, which I've already done as a nice comic background, and then you put the slideshow interval. So if you set it to 10 seconds and you've got more than one picture in there, it will cycle every 10 seconds through these banners and then get back to the start. So click save. So not only could you put your company information or the client's company information, you could have a screenshot that gave you instructions. So if you require to call security, please press the call button and wait for security to contact you. If you have a QR code, please press QR code reader button and then present QR code. So there's lots of different functionalities. So it's not just a company logo. You could actually put a set of instructions there. So when the unit isn't in use, it displays that default set of instructions. So again, quite powerful. But we're quite happy we've done that, so we're going to click save. The other good benefit of having a web browser, because I don't need IVMS 4200 now to program this like I did previously. You can still use IVMS 4200 or HIK Central and the remote configuration option, but because we now have a web browser, we can do it directly through the web browser. If I go to user, I am now able to add a person in directly through the web browser. So person ID 1, name David Davis, male, last time I checked, user, visitor or block list. So I'm a user. Floor number 1, room number 1. Start time, we're going to say from today. You could finish it today, or you could do it to the end date of 2031, which is indefinitely, effectively. I'm also an administrator, so I got access to the back-end device. Authentication type is the same as the device or custom. So this person can have a custom access or same as device, which is card or face. Now, if I click choose a face, choose me, and click add, I can actually add a card as well. So card number, type it in there and add that directly in there. Or I can just add my face. I don't have a fingerprint on this model, but again, the fingerprint ones, you can add a fingerprint. So I'm going to click on OK. I'm now into this log here. And there's my picture details there. So if I go to live view, and hopefully I can get this to come out. I'm doing a screen capture. It never works on screen capture. But if I go to search, so that's all the logs so far. Click search just to update it. I'm going to go and stand in front of the unit because it is literally just by there. So just wait for me to do that. Okay, so that recognized me and I checked in using the time and attendance function. And again, if I click search, you can see David Davis authenticated via face, and the operation, that was the image me captured go into the unit. So again, through this web browser, it's extremely powerful, very, very simple to program. And again, you can do this programming through IVMS 4200, through HIK Central, and more importantly, you can actually do it through the unit directly. There is also another function that we can actually call HIK-Connect directly. So I'll go and quickly do that. You can see it's calling from the device. Hello. You can see through the app I've got the live view plus the ability to do the talk down, and I can also open the door. There we go. So the HIK-Connect functionality is also supported, plus QR code, etc. So again, really nice and simple. What I will do now is I hope you found this video really beneficial and it gave you a good overview of what this unit can do. Again, it's brand new, so the firmware will develop quite quickly. And I imagine a new release won't be that too far away, to be honest. The only thing I did notice is when I go to user, if I click add user, if I click on add card, I can't actually scan the card. I have to input the card number. So, or just thinking about it, actually I might be able to. Let me just have a quick look. I'll just scan this card. Yeah, so that's the only drawback so far. If you are using cards with a built-in card reader, I have to manually input that card number. I can't use the inbuilt through the web browser. I'd have to use IMS 4200 for that function. So I just thought I'd give you a little demonstration of that. I'm going to transfer you back over to the camera and you can see this live in front of us. So you can see the performance, what the background and sound looks like. So stay tuned and I'll be right back. Okay, so hopefully you can see the unit now. So if I just let it go back to the main screen and stand out of the way, that screensaver will kick in. There we go. So there's the current screensaver, so you can put whatever you want as a backdrop on there. If I walk in front of the unit now, you can see my face and straight away it changes to the time and attendance mode. If I didn't have time and attendance mode enabled, it would then authenticate me and open the relay to open the door, etc. Now I have to select one of the options, so DVS check-in, check-out, DVS allocated break-in, break-out, overtime in. So I'm going to check in.
Welcome to DVS, please stay safe.
So again, so I can clock in and clock out.
DVS, please stay
and
safe.
It gives you your image and the audio. So if you remember,
welcome to DVS, please stay safe.
If I do it with a mask on, so it doesn't know me.
Please seek assistance.
So again, the other thing I found that it doesn't support yet is the mask detection. So whether that happens in the near future, I presume it will. But you can see at the bottom, so QR code symbol. So you can see I can scan my QR code. So through IMS 4200 or HIK Central, I'm able to issue a QR code against the person, download that to the person's phone, and they can scan the QR code on their phone, which will then open the door, providing they have the correct permission.
Please seek assistance.
You can also input using the keyboard, you can input a passcode. So if you set it up for passcode, then that was where you'd enter your passcode. Or you can press the call button, and that will call the HIK-Connect app directly using Apple Call, and then you've got the functionality to do the talk, etc. there. So we'll hang up on there. So really, really powerful. Again, if you want to do the admin locally, what you can do is top left hand corner, I find works best. Swipe to the side when the symbol allows you. Authenticate via administrator, authenticate card or face. So I can say, so now I'm in the menu because I've got authentication to go in as David Davis. You can add a user directly. So from here, click add and follow all of the steps to add a user in directly from the front interface. So very, very simple to do. You also have the access control parameters that you can define within the menu. Time and attendance, and again, you can actually turn it on and off through here. Check in, check out, and adjust the parameters there. Communication, so wired, RS-Wi-Fi and WeGand. Basic setup. Now under the shortcut key, we have now enabled the shortcut key, and we can actually select, when that shortcut key is selected, it calls the HIK-Connect app directly, which it does, that's the bottom option there. Call a specified room, call a center, or call a room. So you can, depending on how you want to do this, if you use the HIK-Connect app, it'll call there and it won't be used as an intercom function, but you do have the option to change how this unit reacts. And just come out of there. And again, QR code is enabled. You can disable QR code function there and the password. Voice settings, and then select language, etc. And then biometrics, if you're using the biometrics fingerprint, that can be adjusted there, as well as those face parameters that we showed on the web browser. And then data, I can actually export and import the data using a USB that plugs into the bottom, and then you can actually utilize that as required. So exit that, back to day mode, so you can see nice stylish unit, really reactive. If I stand in front of it, look how quickly it recognizes a person. Select myself to check in.
DVS, please stay safe.
So very, very powerful unit, and I hope that you guys, if I just zoom you out,
please seek assistance. Please seek assistance.
so hopefully you get a really good idea what this unit can do. Really, really stylish. It's about, that's the iPhone 11 Pro, so you can see it is bigger than that, but you know, it's not humongous. Very, very stylish and modern looking, PoE powered, self-contained face recognition terminal with fingerprint card password if required. If you need to know any more, please do contact your DVS sales specialist or ask DVS at dvs.co.uk. We hope you really enjoyed the video. We look forward to your feedback, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel and ask any questions you like on there. We look forward to seeing you next week for another how-to video. Cheerio for now.